Today on the Clip Service podcast, we got some treats for you guys. So there's a lot to cover, 4 games to cover and recap, as well as 4 games to preview. The Clippers are cruising, and it's been hard to try and contain the excitement, but you're going to get all of that and more on what is going to be a jam-packed pod today. So without further ado, let's make it happen.
What's up, Clipper Nation? Welcome to the Clip Service podcast. I'm in a good mood today because the Clippers are on a 7-game win streak.
Longest in the league.
Longest in the fucking league. Thank you, Kawhi. But anyways, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Music, YouTube, and even on Twitter at Clip Service Pod. I'm Rola, and this is my co-host Nick. And today we got a special guest for you, Connor Bell. He's usually behind the scenes as the producer, but today he wanted to take it upon himself and hop on the pod. Moving forward, we're gonna have another one of our friends, Shay Seguin, that's gonna hop on. He's gonna be more of a recurring host, but we're gonna be having a couple special guests here and there, hopping on and see what's popping. Anyways, let's get right into it, baby. Nick, take it away.
Yeah. Wow, guys. What an exciting day. First of all, how did everybody's week go? How was everybody's weekend?
Oh, it was great.
It was
also
good,
Connor.
bro.
Let's hear a little bit about Let's hear a little bit about Connor. I don't want to hear about Rola right now. I just want to hear about Connor.
No, what's going on, everybody? You might have heard about me through behind the scenes, but I'm happy to just be here with the boys and talking about the Clippers in this fashion. So I'm ready to get into some good talks, and I'm just happy to see where the Clippers are going. Like Rola said, with the 7-game win streak, we got to just keep up with the momentum and see where we go. I think it's gonna be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, how was your week? Now that we can get to that, how was your week, Rola? Good.
Yeah, my week was good. My birthday was this Wednesday, so
Hey.
took the day off from work, chilled, had a good time. But other than that, just enjoying life, enjoying the Clippers dubs, enjoying Kawhi ball out, enjoying the drama of the league, and did I already say enjoying life? Anyways,
say it again.
Yeah, well, all you need to know is if the Clippers are winning, bro, life is good.
Yes,
That's all you need
absolutely.
To know. What about you, Nick?
It's been a good week. Been busy. Getting acquainted at a new job, and a lot to do, a lot to learn. So I've had a busy couple of weeks, but things are good, particularly in the Clipper sphere. Excuse me. I tweeted it out the other day that I think this is the most dominant stretch that the Clippers have had in the 2-1-3 era. You saw shades of stuff like that. A lot of momentum, or these big winning streaks in the Lob City era. But it was kind of something because the Lob City era, we hung our hats on being a really good regular team and a not so good postseason team. In the 2-1-3 era, I feel like the regular season has been something that's been kind of on the back burner. And so I think that this particular run that we've gone on has been kind of a breath of fresh air. You see the team is just little plays. The hunger to win, I think, has been a lot more apparent and a lot more drastic in this last 7-game run. Diving for loose balls. I mean, that's kind of, as far as I know, that is how PG ended up pulling his groin, was diving for a loose ball. And so little plays like that, plays on the margins, that I've seen all throughout this win streak. It shows a desire and a hunger to win that I haven't seen with too much consistency in the Kawhi and PG era, and I think it's a mixture of things. I think having one of the best half court playmakers in James Harden in the starting lineup, having an energy guy in Russ that's willing to throw his body on the line to grab a rebound or to go for a loose ball or to get to the hoop. Terrence Mann in the starting lineup, we know that that's always been a recipe for success.
every time.
Zoo has been playing, is continually playing the best stretch that I've seen from him as a Clipper, and I think James Harden's a big part of that. I know that James Harden, is an all time playmaker, but it's just the way that he feeds it to Zoo. It's not too fast. He has a lot. He lob. It's normally like lob passes, or it's not any. There's not too much sauce on it or anything like that. It's easy passes to catch. Everything's clicking in the best way, and you see it top to bottom. We'll get into the Amir Coffey game, or Amir Coffey's performance against the Warriors, but I mean, didn't play any minutes really at all throughout the season. Comes in, gets the start for Paul George, and his entire game was just the epitome of little winning plays. And
He's a
I
monster,
cannot be
dude.
happier with what we've seen from the team so far. So yeah, I think things are good. Things are good right now. I don't
Hmm.
necessarily see us as a full blown contender just yet, but we're on our way.
You don't see
Particularly
us as a
with
full blown contender?
not not yet.
You don't want to jinx it though. At
Interesting.
the same time,
That's a
Yeah,
hot take, dude.
I don't see it. Here, I'll take a little sip of the clove for that.
Um,
We're on the way.
ye-
I'm just not there yet.
mm-hmm.
I don't think I don't think that's fair to say because I think we know that a guy like Kawhi Leonard can turn any regular team into a contender literally
Sure,
within a day.
sure,
So I think to say that is unfair, especially what we saw last year. I mean, we could have had Kawhi not gotten injured. I don't know if the Suns still beat us without Paul George. I think that was a really good series with just Kawhi. So we can see how much one guy, one superstar, has an effect on a team. And this, I'm not going to get into it right now. Um, but let's just say I made some comments last week, and it's almost like I was right about everything. It's interesting how that works.
Okay, I
But
will give you. Okay, I will
but
give you your flowers. I will give you your flowers
yeah, it's
about
just
what
one
you
of those
said about
things.
Kawhi being. Okay, so I think we were both half right because Terrence Mann, his shooting numbers have gone up a little bit too, and I said that he was going to have a good stretch. So let's just call it 50-50. How about that?
No, 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 no. We can call it 75-25
Okay, I'm cool
because
with
I
that.
was I was pretty adamant on my takes. But anyways, I kind of wanted to talk about just the league in general,
Yeah,
kind of
let's
this
do a
week.
little league talk to start this
Let's
Yeah.
pod off.
let's get into a certain character named Draymond Green and kind of what happened this week, as I'm sure everyone knows. Connor, if you want to kind of get into this,
Yeah.
and we're I think we've mentioned this before, but we're all in a fantasy league, and Connor has
Mhm.
Draymond Green on his
He,
team. So
he
Connor, if you want to
does,
take
I
yeah.
away
sure
on
do.
your opinions on this.
Yeah, I definitely do. It's
Yep.
it's quite the sight to see.
Oh,
I mean,
Connor
we,
is
we saw it with
frozen.
Rudy Gobert earlier
Connor
this year.
froze
Connor's frozen
immediately.
in a.
Oh,
Oh,
what? Can you
he's
hear me?
back. He's back. He's
Yeah,
back.
there we go. There we go.
Okay. I was just saying that it's quite the sight to see. And it's really unfortunate. I think with Rudy Gobert first, that was pretty crazy in its own right. We're seeing a player get put in a headlock on live TV, and we're thinking, this
Rat.
might be the only instance, right? Um, has a suspension, comes back, plays a couple games, and then just 360 punches Nurk in the face. And it was, I was kind of lost for words. Um, I didn't really see any merit or any reason as to why he made that motion, or it didn't really make any sense. And I
No, it
think there's
didn't.
like a bigger problem to it, but
Oh
we
yeah.
can get in more detail on that for sure. But
Yeah,
what do
I
you?
think. Sorry to cut you off. I think the thing because we've known Draymond to be an instigator,
Hmm.
an enforcer. He's been a recipe for success for this Warriors team for a long time. Been a huge piece of their championship formula. But we know that what comes with Draymond. He's going to talk a lot of shit. He's gonna play really physical. But the last couple of years, and even Steve Kerr, who has been Draymond's sometimes to Steve Kerr's detriment, has been Draymond's biggest advocate, even when he probably knows in the back of his mind that Draymond should be held accountable. But even Steve Kerr recently said, "This is a dude that needs help."
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
whether it's seeking counseling for anger management, or I don't know what Dre's got going on in his personal life, but it's been egregious the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Got suspended 5 games
Mhm.
for a headlock on Rudy Gobert that didn't even need to happen. And
Yeah.
then 5 games go by and he's doing this. He's spinning around and hitting Nurk. And then in his post game interview, he's really not. He apologized, but it was half-assed apology, and it really didn't seem like he felt like anything was wrong.
Mhm.
So, I'm a big advocate of Draymond as a player. I always say that he is probably as influential to the league as Steph was, but obviously in a different way. Steph's a far better player, but he
Mhm.
changed what it meant to be a small forward and to be a center. And he's a small forward that's guarding 1 through 5. He was able to allow them to switch everything. He could shoot the ball in his prime.
Mhm.
He was pretty close to unguardable at times because of all the things that he can do on the floor. He can make plays. He can play defense. There was no weakness in his game other than like being able to shoot lights out like the two Splash Brothers. But um, so I'm a big advocate of him as a player, but his antics have been he's going to get somebody hurt,
Yep.
like
He did.
severely hurt. So yeah, Rolla, what's your opinion on that whole thing?
Well, to I guess after watching the clip of him rocking Nurkic in the face, my initial thought was that he's just insane, bro. Um, it kind of I mean, he's all like you said. He's always been kind of that aggressive type of player, the enforcer, kind of like the bodyguard to Steph.
Yeah, totally.
But
Mhm.
recently, he's been taking it too far. The Rudy Gobert thing was like absolute. There was no reason for it. Like
No, he
Not
wasn't
even.
helping anybody.
Gobert
Made it
didn't do
worse.
anything.
Mhm.
He might as well
He
have
made it
choked the
worse.
water boy, dude. At that point,
Yeah.
like,
No,
Yeah.
it almost seems like Draymond is just looking for someone to take out his anger
yeah,
on. Because I
Yeah.
mean, Nurkic really didn't do anything to warrant getting hit in the head. It's not like he pushed him or
No.
anything. I think he does have a little bit of an issue that he needs to deal with. And I remember after he rocked Jordan Poole last year's preseason, while the media was, while everyone was going crazy, you seen the video and everything. Draymond Green did mention, I believe it may have been on his podcast, but he mentioned that there were things that he was going through off the court, and that was kind of what triggered him, was that Jordan Poole had kind of like been picking on that.
Mhm.
And so I think that is one of those things that you could see like kind of growing in it. I think that the issue with him, and I think Kendrick Perkins mentioned this on
Mhm.
First Take last week. He had said that I think the biggest fault is on the Warriors, because they've known since the Jordan Poole incident that he has been going through things, and for him to have put Rudy Gobert in a chokehold, to step on who did he step on? Uh,
Sabonis.
yeah,
Sabonis stepped on
Sabonis.
his chest.
Yeah. Just to
To
stomp.
Yeah,
to punch Nurkic, like that's like those events have to keep happening for you to get him help. Like he should have been getting help. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean we don't know that he was getting help. It just means that now, like, it got to a point where the league is like, you know what, and all the players are even like, you know what, this dude needs help. And it's kind of sad to see the Warriors not have seen that ahead of time
Mhm.
and given him the help he need, maybe giving him some time off, or giving him, a break from basketball to actually get some legit help.
Yeah.
Because he's like you said, he could actually hurt someone, and it looks like he's, kind of taking it out on innocent people, which is sad to see.
yeah,
That's all I
Well,
gotta say on
he's
that point.
yeah, he's certainly getting the help now, and
Yeah, well,
I think
forcibly.
yeah, but and that's a really interesting take, and I think a lot of people think like he's going to finish it in 4 weeks and then like be back to playing basketball, and personally, for maybe not a lot of people know about counseling itself or therapy, but it's definitely a lot longer than that usually. And for people to actually reach a goal or kind of reach a point where they're cleared, it's definitely going to take a lot longer than 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So even potentially he could not play the rest of the season, and maybe the
Hmm.
Warriors are that you know, wanting to make sure that he's like in better shape, just mentally, and can play basketball without, doing what he does, because he just loses his temper. And I think, I can't recall who interviewed him, but there was one woman, I think, just part of a news team that was interviewing him about the Rudy Gobert incident. And, he was quoted saying that like he watched the tape after and didn't know that he was holding Rudy Gobert like that for that long.
Yeah.
And even that statement alone is like, how do you not recognize what you're doing in that moment? There's something that's going, internally incorrect, to the point where he's not even recognizing the damage he's doing.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's the biggest thing, is being able to have time away to acknowledge the gravity of where he's at, like mentally, I guess, for
Mhm.
lack of a better word, to be able to recognize what um, his antics, like the effect that they have, not only on the opposing team but on his team. And he's drawing all this negative attention towards a team that's struggling already.
Mhm.
Hmm.
We this Warriors dynasty wasn't going to last forever.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that, I've told Rolla before. I think Klay Thompson's days have his best days are behind him. He's obviously still an impactful player. He's a great shooter, but he's had, I think, one too many serious injuries. Steph's still playing at a remarkable level,
Mhm.
but eventually, he's gonna start to decline a little bit more. Chris Paul is always dealing with injuries, as we know as Clipper fans. It seems like this dynasty is kind of in the twilight stages, of their greatness or of their success, and and bringing this negative energy or this negative perspective onto the team is certainly not helping them go off into the sunset, and have like a nice last couple years of the dynasty. It's making things rockier than they need to be. I think Steve Kerr is already kind of in the hot seat, but him having to continually stand up for Draymond is not a good look for him. I know why he does it. He's a player's coach. He stands up for
Mhm.
his guys. But yeah, it's not good for anybody involved, and so hopefully Draymond gets the help that he needs. But I'm so sick of Draymond's bullshit that I'm okay with him missing it. And I mean, I know Connor's got him on his fantasy team, so Connor's
Yeah.
probably not as happy to see him be suspended. But not just for Draymond's own sake, but just for the rest of the league. I'm cool if he misses out a good portion of this season. I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It is.
agree.
Mhm.
Yeah. What else is going on in the league? Actually,
Can I
I think we're going
can
to
I,
touch on it a little bit later, in
can I
a
say something
segment where
really
we
quick?
talk a little bit about. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Um, you had mentioned that Steve Kerr is on the hot seat, and
I do think so. Yeah.
I gotta say, what I don't, I don't like how the league. Uh, I feel like coaches are too disposable these days. Like I
Mhm.
don't understand. Like how could he be on the hot seat? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he's not on the hot seat. I'm just saying like as an owner or like as someone who runs the team, how could Steve Kerr be on the hot seat? Like the dude has won what 4 championships for the Warriors.
Totally.
Like it's not even it's not it's like dude, one bad season and he's on the hot seat. That's crazy
Well,
to me. Like I
Connor,
feel
were you
like
gonna
that
say something?
happens to a lot of coaches. Like they'll just have one
yeah.
or two bad seasons after winning a championship or do like Budenholzer. Like and then get
Budenholzer
fired?
wasn't a good coach. I don't think, to be honest with
Really?
you. Yeah.
I mean, Steve
I
Kerr is
mean,
more competent than other coaches in the league right now.
he's a very good coach. He's one of the
Yeah.
best coaches in my opinion and I just think that that's kind of wild. I would I mean, I love
Yeah.
I
Ty
think
Lue, but I mean if Steve Kerr was out there, I don't know, dude. Isn't this Ty Lue's last year on his contract?
I think he has one more. I might
Mm.
be wrong. Um, Mike, could you look that up when you get a second? But yeah, I don't know. I just think that I'm a big advocate of Kerr as a coach too, but I think just where the team's at, where the dynasty's at, I can't see Kerr sticking around for a rebuild. Um, I think that he, kind of to your point, Rolla, he's too good of a coach for a team that wants to contend. He's really good at keeping stars in check
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. And making sure that stars feel comfortable. I think that once the Warriors do start to do a soft rebuild, I think that he'll be out. And so part of the reason why I think that he might be in the hot seat is just because I think this Warriors team is on the edge of doing some sort of soft rebuild
Yep.
already. And so getting him to a different destination or putting him in a position to be able to take over for another team that might need a contending head coach, they might want to do it sooner rather than later. I think there's plenty of coaches out there that probably shouldn't be in the positions that they are over Kerr. I think Thibodeau has been needed to be replaced for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think who else. Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is a great
I
coach.
think he's a fantastic coach.
Or the
Nick Nurse
Jazz.
is a great coach. I'm not a huge fan of his rotations, like who he chooses to play over others, particularly when he was the coach of the Raptors. Um, but I think that he's still probably in an okay position. There's coaches out there that probably Jason Kidd. I don't think Jason Kidd needs to be a head coach for a contending team right
Mhm.
now. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Connor, I feel like you had something to say.
Well, no, Mike had looked it up. It says that Ty Lue's contract with the Clippers was signed in October 2022, and it's a 5-year deal. So he's still got a few
Okay.
years left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
which is a good
forgot he
thing for
signed
us.
last year.
Yeah, which is really good, especially with the momentum we have right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just you got to keep it going for even more years.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, what else? I think we wanted to touch on another segment. I think we'll save that for a little later in the show. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the up and coming teams, younger teams that are playing kind of above their expectations. We'll touch on that after we do our recaps. Some teams that I like are the Pacers and obviously Shea's OKC Thunder. Um, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I think it's probably time to touch on the first game of the recap, which was a, let's see, what was the score? It was a 132-127 win over the Portland Trailblazers at home. It was the first game of a 4-game homestand, and it was a little closer than I would have liked. I did watch all of this game. This game, to me, I'll let Connor and Rolla recap most of it, but I did want to touch on the fact that this game was about as close to a Harlem Globetrotters game as you can get in the modern NBA. The amount of ridiculous shots from both sides that were being hit, just super deep threes, Russell Westbrook double clutch threes. Um, Anthony Simons had a ton of threes. I think in the third, Matisse Thybulle, guys that aren't normally hitting threes were hitting threes. There were some ridiculous shots in this game, and if that wasn't the case, because there was no defense being played at all, 127 to 132,
Yeah.
even in today's game, that's a lot of points.
Mhm.
There's no defense being played, and honestly, if it wasn't as whimsical and silly and just stupid almost as it was, I would have been more upset that we made it this close against the Portland Trailblazers team. But we took the win, and afterwards, I was like, okay, that was just pure silliness. So yeah, I mean, it was a close game, closer than I would have liked, but we took the win. What stood out to you guys that game, Roller or Connor?
Um, well, so last week I had mentioned that I wanted this to be a blowout game. Should have been done in 3 quarters, and um, I wasn't able to watch this game and look completely through, just because it was late at night and had to go to bed, work the next morning or the next day. But what stood out to me was Kawhi Leonard, 34 points plus 13. Man,
He
I
was
said this.
insane, dude.
Yeah, I said this last week. Kawhi, it was about time Kawhi turned it on because I think he's been
Mhm.
he had been very relaxed to start the season. Like I said, he had a game where he scored 8 points, and I was raging about that last week because no superstar should ever be scoring single digit points.
Mhm.
Um, and he this week he completely turned it on. He flipped the switch finally. I would have liked him to do this when we were on our losing streak, but
Yeah.
it's better late than never type of thing. Like I said, I see Kawhi as a top 5 player in the league. He's completely showing it now.
He's
He
playing
to
like
me
the best player in the NBA in my eyes right now.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. And for him, this is the reason why I was so mad last week. Is it almost felt like people were just like, oh, okay, like it's Kawhi. Uh, like we're losing, but like it's like Kawhi's gonna like turn it on eventually. Like he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that, and he wasn't really dunking. He wasn't really as active as he usually looks. That's why I
Mhm.
said that he's either injured or like something else is wrong, because he wasn't turning on, and now it
Mhm.
looks like he's actually like caring and like starting to ball, and because of his play, the entire team has been playing better, and like no one can tell
Totally.
me otherwise. He's been averaging what like 30 something points over the
Yeah.
last what couple game like 10 games or so.
I think he's
Mhm.
Uh
averaging about 30.
Yeah.
yeah, so and that's exactly the stat line of a superstar. That's something
Yep.
that we would expect of Kevin Durant, of Steph Curry, of LeBron James. That's the people I mentioned last week, and it's just good to see. Overall. But yeah, in this game specifically, plus 13, 34 points. That's unbelievable. 6 boards, 5 assists. Paul George had a good game, 20 points, 8 assists, 8 boards. I feel like James Harden deserves an applaud because he
Absolutely.
has been playing unbelievable the past couple games. They have been talking shit on this man
Yeah.
relentlessly since he joined the Clippers, and I feel like this last freak he's been really balling. And I also got to say Norman Powell has been really showing his offensive pedigree recently.
Big
And
time.
in this game he had 16.3 boards and 1 assist, but overall I feel like he's just been balling. And I can't we don't ask for anything more from the first off our bench is to give us the energy, give us the points, bring us back, and I think that's what he did. But overall in this game, like I said, I was a little bit disappointed because I was expecting a blowout. I wanted this to be done in the third quarter because this was a first leg of a back to back. But I didn't know that they could do both at a high level, play both
Yeah.
games at a high level.
Totally.
Mhm.
Connor, did you have anything to say about this game?
A little bit. I didn't get a chance to watch the Blazers play the Clippers, but on paper, looking at the Blazers wanting to rebuild, getting rid of Dame, and kind of essentially restarting in some way, we expect a blowout and kind of a crazy game based on the score and just no defense allowed basically. But the positive thing is just seeing Harden, filling into the spot that he should be, a facilitator and also a scorer. He's a double threat on the court, and we needed that. And even talking about it with Nick last night, it's the point guard we needed ever since like CP3. Sorry if I'm taking your point there, but I
No,
think
no,
it's
no, no, no.
but it's a really valid point.
Yeah.
And and Kawhi is playing at a top five, player in the league right now, and he's been playing that pretty consistently. And I, love the fact that he hasn't even had load management yet. You know, I just hope he stays healthy, and I hope it continues to work out for him because I'm loving the stretch that we have. It's been amazing to see.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with all that. I was like Connor said, we were talking about it last night. Russ is a great playmaker in his own right, particularly in transition. I think Russ's entire game is a lot more than playmaking. He's Russ is so unique in the sense that he's basically the best glue guy on the floor, but he's also on most of the teams he's been on, he's the best player as well. So what Russ offers isn't necessarily just his playmaking, and you could say the same thing about Harden, but
Mm.
Harden I think is a better playmaker, particularly in the half court. Obviously, he led the league in assists last year. He's had a really interesting career trajectory. He was a monster scorer in his days in Houston. Um, and towards the end of that, and as he started moving on to other teams, he started really focusing on being a facilitator because he always had that in his game. But he's really hung his hat on that, and particularly the last couple of years, and it's very apparent in his stint with the Clippers. He's setting guys up in the right way, making easy passes look even, or making difficult passes look easy. Um, Particularly when the team gets set in a half court offense. He can make plays. He's actually pretty good at making outlet plays or plays in the fast break, but that's not really where his true strengths lie. He's a fantastic pick and roll facilitator.
Yeah.
He has great vision when things are set. When he can kind of survey the whole floor in the half court and get methodical, and he's been incredible in that role for us. We haven't really had that since, like Connor said, since Chris Paul. So we're seeing flashes of that Lob City style of playmaking where it's just pick and roll, little pocket passes, throwing it to the weak side for an open three, just methodical playmaking that gets everybody involved in the half court.
Mhm.
I love that I love it when we get out and run and we try to play the fast break, but we have so many incredible shot makers, and we were already such a good half court offense in the 2-1-3 era that adding a playmaker that can do so much damage in the half court it's been apparent that that's been a huge reason why we've been so dominant, particularly for our big men. Tice and Zubats have been incredible. Tice has been pretty damn good since he came to the Clippers, but as you guys I'm sure remember, we were really pretty hard on Zoo early on in the season, rightfully so. He wasn't playing up to his potential. But as Harden's gotten better and gotten more comfortable with the team, Zoo's numbers keep getting better and better. Zoo ended up, he only had 6 rebounds in this game, but 18 points.
Mhm.
9 for 13 from the field. His efficiency is always going to be high, but he's getting the touches. Played 33 minutes, was a +2 in the box score. Our big men are really reaping the benefits of having a playmaker of this caliber on the team. But other than that, from like I kind of said earlier, this game was just silly. We were shooting 70% from the field in the first quarter, which is just absurd. Zoo had 14 points in that first quarter. Second quarter was kind of ISO heavy, and the Blazers started to catch up a bit. And we fouled a ton in that second quarter, kind of got them back into it. After the half, it was kind of a back and forth affair. There really wasn't any defense being played at all throughout the entire game. And also, the Trailblazers were hitting some absurd shots. Both teams were, but I think Scoot Henderson actually had probably the first game this season that he showed what he can do, what kind of damage he can do on the floor, and why he was such a top 3 pick. And he looked good against us. Simons lit us up in the third. It was hitting a ton of threes. It was definitely the weirdest game of the season overall. Moses Brown got some playing time, and he was actually looking pretty good against us in the fourth. And then there was, I think, 4 straight possessions where we just, God bless Moses Brown. Seems like a great dude, but he has a lot of shortcomings on the basketball floor. One of which being, just having like an offensive game outside of dunks. And there were, I think, 4 straight possessions where we attacked him on defense, just threw doubles at him, and I think he had 4 straight turnovers or 3 straight turnovers, and it got blocked. We bullied him, and it led to I think 6 or 7 straight points, and that was kind of what sealed the deal there in the fourth. It was a back and forth effort, but yeah, it was just a weird game. 34 from Kawhi, 18 from Zoo, 20 from Harden with 7 assists, a steal, 7 rebounds. Kind of did a little bit of everything. PG quietly had a pretty efficient game outside of his 3-point shooting. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal and a block. Did have 4 fouls, which is you hate to see that. Terrence's shooting numbers, he's taking more threes and he's making more threes. He only had 1 this game. But that was one thing that I touched on last episode. I think Terrence, once he's able to figure out his offense a little bit and get to his regular shooting numbers, that'll be such a great weapon because we already have Norm coming off the bench and giving us 15, 16, 17 a night, and Russ as well. Both of those two could potentially get six man of the year this year. Um, having Terrence, having that fifth starter be able to chip in on offense, as we know that he can, is huge. And he offers so much else, so it's hard to nitpick. But if he gets to shooting the way that he kind of has been lately, that makes our team so much better. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all I got to say about that game. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Mm. Yeah.
Cool.
That was
Well, let's move on to the next win out of four.
Mhm.
It's great to say that. 119-99 absolute beating,
Yep.
uh, beating the Sacramento Kings at home. Um, Sacramento is playing really good basketball. De'Aaron Fox is looking incredible so far this year, but the Clippers kind of took control of this game and
Mhm.
had most of the momentum the whole way through. I wasn't able to watch this game. I was in a movie. But did either of you guys watch this one? I saw the highlights. Kawhi obviously put up 31. Is
Mhm.
continuing was continuing his amazing play. He was easily the best player this game. It was modest numbers from everybody else in the starting lineup, but yeah, Kawhi put up 31, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal and a
Mhm.
block. 11 for 14 from the field, just monster efficiency, 7 for 7 from the free throw line. He was the biggest standout to me yet again in this one. What did you guys see that you wanted to talk about a little bit?
So I watched the first half of this game, and then I watched a little bit of the third quarter, and then I kind of turned it off because it was just a complete blowout, and we
Mhm.
started to play kind of our bench unit. But it was the Kings almost seemed like they didn't want to even be on the floor. They weren't playing hard. They weren't playing well. It wasn't a competitive game. There was no point in the game where I felt like, oh, the Kings could come back. It was just one of those games where we just dominated from start to finish. Um, Great game from Kawhi, 31 points. I believe we pulled him out, or we pulled out James Harden early, and
Mhm.
Kawhi, I believe. But overall, starters did a great job. Kawhi killed it. Paul George. This was the game he got injured in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He only
Yes.
played like 16 minutes.
Yeah. So Paul George got injured. I believe he had. It wasn't. I don't want to say injured because he came back. He only took one game off. But
Yep.
I believe he kind of had a groin issue. But overall,
Oh,
great
PG.
game. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Overall, great game from the Clippers. Norman Powell, like I was saying, plus 26. He kind of he's just been killing it recently.
Yeah.
I can't say more enough about what he's been doing for our team recently.
Totally. Yeah, he's been our best catch and shoot 3 point threat for sure.
By far.
Um, yeah, he's been incredible. Him and James had the highest, tied for the highest plus minus on the
Hmm.
team at plus 26. Um, yeah. Norm's been great off the bench. Connor, what did you see, or did you watch this game?
I did not. No,
Okay.
but I definitely agree with you guys. And the numbers, plus minus numbers, I think are fantastic. And I think I have more to talk about with the Golden State game and everything
Yeah,
like that too.
yeah. I mean, there's really not much else that needs to be
There's
said
not
about
much to say
the
about this game.
about the
Mhm.
King. It was the second time that we kind of took it to him this season. At both games, Kawhi had a dominant game. I think that he's just a tough cover for their
Mhm.
team. They De'Aaron Fox. He's an underrated defender, but he is a smallish guard. So guys like him and Malik Monk and Kevin Herter, it's hard for those guys to be able to hang with some of our bigger wings. Paul George is all of 6'9", Kawhi 6'7", one of the strongest dudes in the league,
Mhm.
and it shows. The last two games that we played them, our best performance was from our star forward,
Hmm.
and I think that he provides them with the tough cover when he's on, and he certainly was. The leading scorer for the Kings was, I believe it was Keegan Murray with 17. So we kind of took the wind out of their sails a little bit, and it was kind of everything past the second half was almost gravy. We had the lead throughout the game, and this was just a good win against a team that, they've been giving a ton of teams trouble this season. They play at a breakneck speed. De'Aaron Fox is still the fastest guy in the league on the fast break, and he's a one-man wrecking crew once he gets out in transition. But he only used 5 for 16 tonight, or not tonight, on that night, whatever night that was, Wednesday or whatever. And was a minus 14. All of their starters were minuses in the plus minus, and it was just a dominating win all around. Not much else that needs to be said other than the fact that Kawhi is having an early MVP campaign so far, in my eyes. But that if we have nothing else to say, let's talk about the 121-113 victory against the Golden State Warriors, third game of the homestand. The second time, I think it was we beat them last game, right? That was the game that we beat them.
Yeah, that was the game winner.
Yeah, so two in a row against the Warriors. The last game it was a Paul George game winner. This game it was Kawhi and Harden were kind of the cash cows, and they didn't have Draymond. The Warriors didn't have Draymond in this one, which is obviously a big loss for them. They have guys who can step up, and it wasn't a blowout by any means up until the end, but ended up taking this win as well. What did you guys see that stood out to you the most this one?
Amir Coffee.
Yeah, I love that. I love that we can talk about Amir.
Dude, I was watching it. I just loved how he moved on the court. Like, he was just ready to get at it. Like, I loved that, tenacity and just the movement and energy. And it's just exactly what we need, especially from a really young guy that, hopefully can branch off into, the starting unit in the future, in the next couple of years. And if we keep a hold of him and, keep giving him what he needs to get better and better. But that was a huge highlight, in my opinion, that I gained from it. But what about you, Rola?
Amir Coffee. Wow, what a game. It's nice to see him get some minutes and actually show. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember a game ever where Amir Coffee has played or started or was given significant minutes where he played poorly. I feel like he always gives us his all. He always hits meaningful shots. To be honest, I don't know why we don't play him as much. He has never I don't have any memory of ever thinking like, damn, we lost this game because Amir Coffee let us down. He always
might as well call him the pour over, because with this coffee all you gotta do is add water.
Oh my God. Oh.
Oh yeah, baby. Feeling good. Brian Seaman, get at me for some coffee puns for the next podcast, please.
Yeah, let's. So Kawhi had a great game. James Harden, dude, like I said, man's been balling. 28 points, 15 assists, 7 boards. That's some vintage James Harden shit. But overall, I guess the biggest thing I saw in this game was I just feel like we were just balling. That's it. The Golden State Warriors also did not have Draymond Green because this was post Draymond Green punch to Nurkic.
Yeah, the punch around the world.
I think in the preview of this game, I had mentioned that I believe that if we were going to lose a game this week, it would be this game against the Warriors. One, because this was this was the third game this week. So I just assumed that after the back-to-back, we kind of have tired legs. I thought the Warriors were going to, because of the way they lost and the fashion they lost the last game, they're going to come out hard and more hungry than we would. And I could not have been more wrong. The Clippers came out way more hungry.
Wait, Rola's saying he's wrong?
Yeah, I couldn't have been more wrong about this one. This is actually a shock. I also didn't see Draymond Green. I didn't see it coming that Draymond Green would do what he did. So,
yeah.
But anyways, it's a rarity that I'm ever wrong.
Right.
One of those things I know about is sports, and that's just one of those things.
Sports and everything.
No, not everything.
Just all about facts.
Not everything. It's just sports, dude. I just know my shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
able to predict and I'm able to understand and I'm able to analyze. But anyways, uh, overall, great game from the Clippers. We came out more hungry. We wanted it more. Kawhi's leadership was being shown through our team. Same thing with James Harden. Uh,
Full blast.
Like Connor mentioned, Amir Coffey balling 18 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and then I gotta keep shouting this dude out, Norman Powell. He's been balling 21 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, unbelievable game. What about you, Nick? You got anything to say about this one?
I do. Well, first of all, our co-producer Michael saw Amir Coffey at the Target in Sherman Oaks a couple weeks ago, looking for a hairbrush. Really wanted to say hi. Didn't get a chance to. So, Amir Coffey, if you're listening to this, you know, my boy Michael is a big fan, and he really wishes he could have said hi. But you were looking for a hairbrush, and yeah, you were doing your thing. Anyway, I had to get that out of the way, uh, just in case Amir was listening. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that I want to talk about. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase everything a little bit. But one thing that's been standing out to me, it was pretty apparent in this game. Klay Thompson ended up going nuclear in the third or
Mm.
the fourth. Ended up finishing the game with 30. 8 threes for the game, 8 for 12, and he was hitting everything. I think it was late in the third. They started coming back a little bit,
Yeah,
and it was behind those absurd shots that Klay Thompson can hit. But one thing that stood out to me during this run, particularly in this game, has been the Clippers' late game execution and their crunch time execution has been better than I've
has
seen
been
in a
heat.
long time. We are doing a great job of staving off opposing runs. You saw it against the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers, I think had like a 1 point lead at one point, and we ended up setting the tone, taking a step back, and I think a lot of that's on Ty Lue. I think being able to call the right timeouts, get guys recalibrated. But whatever it is, it's been working, and we've done a really good job in crunch time, which is kind of not our strong suit. We've kind of been more of a team to get down early and then go on crazy runs and be able to finish the game with a win. But we're the ones that are kind of staving off those runs. We lead the game. We go into the third. We kind of give up a little bit of a lead, but we end up putting our foot on the neck of the opposing team and making sure that we escape with a win. You saw that tonight, or not? I keep saying tonight. I don't know what's going on anymore. You saw that against the Warriors. Norm had 10 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. His contributions, particularly in crunch time in that death
Dude,
lineup, have been huge. Him with the four other starters, he's been hitting big shot after big shot. Can't say enough about Amir. Amir truly is, such an important part of this team in the fact that he's one of those guys that is familiar with the offense, has been with the team for years, and he might not play for 10, 15 games, but you add him to the starting lineup for an injured Paul George in this one, and he made some huge plays. He ended up getting an offensive rebound or ripping the ball out of somebody's. I think it was Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney pulled down the offensive rebound, ripped the ball out of Looney's hands,
yep.
dived to the floor, threw it up to James Harden, who ended up giving it to Kawhi for a fast break dunk in crunch time when the game was close. It's plays like that that have been such a joy the last couple games. It's been great. James Harden looked aggressive. I think he understood the assignment. We don't have Paul George in this one, so I got to get my shots off. And he looked really aggressive, getting to his spots, hitting a couple sidestep threes, step back threes. Um, Chris Paul and Daniel Tice ended up getting into it a little bit this game. Chris Paul, whether you like him or not, he's going to compete. And it got a little chippy between him and Tice. Tice ended up having a pretty good game off the bench, only 4 points, but had some impact plays. Russ was, I thought, incredible in his role this game. Had a big block on Chris Paul. Coffee was hanging tough with CP, had him hang a little too long in the air on a jump shot, and Russ just came by and weak side and swatted that shit out of bounds in crunch time. And
Was that the finger wag?
that was the finger wag, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Um, just
okay.
the energy that he brought to this game, same energy that he's been bringing game after game. since he's been moved to the bench has been awesome. Um, but yeah, our bench chipped in a big way, particularly behind the 21 points from Norman Powell. Yeah, just a great game. A great way to show some grit in the crunch time offense and defense. It was awesome to see, and we ended up taking the 121-113 win against the team that has been struggling, and we had to take advantage, and we certainly did. So, anything else for this game, guys?
No, I don't have anything else for this one.
All right, well, let's get to the last game in our recap, which
Mhm.
was a demonstrative win against the New York Knicks. This was another one that I didn't see most of, but I did watch a little bit of a recap earlier today, and obviously I saw the highlights when they were happening. I did see Zoo's ridiculous poster on Jericho Sims, who Zoo should have held up that. Do you remember when Jericho Sims did the dunk contest and held up that little piece of
Yep.
paper that said 50 on it? Zoo honestly should have pulled one out of his pocket and just held a 50 up. Zoo
Yup.
had a nasty poster on Jericho Sims off a sweet feed from Harden in transition. Big plays from everybody
Mm-hmm.
in this one. And the Knicks, while they struggle on offense, they're a great rebounding team. They lost some of that with Mitch Robinson, but they still are a great rebounding team. Jalen Brunson is playing some incredible basketball right now. Had a 50-point game the game before they played us, but we ended up, taking advantage of a team that struggles on offense and dropping 144. That's probably the most points that we've scored this season,
Insane,
if I
dude.
were to
It definitely
guess.
is. It
Yeah.
definitely is.
Um, letting them drop 122 isn't great, but I think a lot of that was garbage time anyway.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot to like about this one. I want to let you guys get your takes off first, though.
Well, all I got to say about this game was our starting lineup just absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
They played so well together this game. And Terrence Mann hasn't really had the best offensive output recently.
Mhm.
But he
He was
was
good in that
just,
in this
yeah,
one.
he played well in this game. 13 points, 4 assists. Can't really ask for more from him, just because he gives so much off the ball for us
Totally.
and on defense. That's
Mhm.
honestly, that's all we can ask for from him. And then, Kawhi Leonard, 36 points this week, man. Kawhi really showed who he is.
Yeah.
He's not some regular star. He's not in that tier of Darren Fox
Hey, hey,
uh,
hey, hey,
or
hey.
no, no, I'm not saying I'm not saying anything bad about those guys. I'm just saying those guys are all star type
I get it. I
players.
get it.
To me there's different tiers in the league. Um, there's tiers where it's your stars, which is those that are like De'Aaron Fox, Jalen Brunson. There's those are like all like top tier all stars, which are like to me are like Jason Tatum's, um,
Mhm.
an
Mhm.
Embiid type, and then there are those that are the straight up superstars, which are Jokic, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Bron,
Yeah.
Kawhi. I put Kawhi in that straight up superstar
Yeah,
caliber.
of course.
Those are the players that you're going to win a championship with. Too. That's how I feel.
Mhm.
And I sorry, I almost didn't. I almost forgot, but I must include Giannis in that
Yeah.
superstar
Yeah.
top tier rank because that dude is a fucking
Keep
beast.
talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah, dude. I can't believe you
Um,
just forgot him. I was gonna get pissed if you forgot his
yeah,
name.
no. Giannis is, and even I don't want to go too deep in about another player, but Giannis has been playing his playing his ass off. He had 64 points last week.
Yeah,
Um,
franchise record, right?
yeah,
For the Bucks.
he has been balling, but overall, Kawhi has just been balling this entire week.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's been averaging about like 30 plus this week.
Hmm.
That's exactly what I wanted to see. And I'm gonna and if Kawhi's watching this, man, I want to challenge him. Why not try to average 40 next week? We're gonna get into I guess the teams we're playing next week, but I guess like what I want to see is just a complete domination. You know,
Mm.
there were a couple years ago. There was a argument or a discussion on Kawhi being the number one player in the league, and I think they were putting this was the year that the Lakers had won the championship. This was at, I think, 2020. But during that year, I remember specifically after the Christmas game where we beat the Lakers, people were saying that Kawhi was the best player in the league. This was the year after he won the chip with Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why not get back to that, Kawhi? That's my challenge to him. Why not get back to that? Why
That's
not get?
Rola's
Why
challenge to
not?
Kawhi, dude. If you're
Why
That's a
listening,
not?
hot
Kawhi,
take. That's
Yeah,
a hot take, Roll.
why not get? That's not a hot take.
it's
Why
not
is
a
that a
hot
hot
take.
take?
It's not a
I
hot take.
I think it's a hot take because you have to consider all the other players on the court. I mean, people like James Harden who have the ball in their hand, it's going to take it slightly away out of Kawhi. So to
But
expect him to do 40 points and have output from James
yeah,
Harden and PG, you're asking the Clippers to score 144 points every single game.
I'm not asking the Clippers to score
Ding ding ding.
144 points every single game. I'm just saying that Kawhi has been at last week. Last week Nick had mentioned that we were still winning games where Kawhi wasn't scoring 30 plus.
Mm.
And I said that a superstar needs to demand the ball and needs to demand to score and make sure the ball's in his hands, make sure that he's being effective.
In his
And I think
claws.
that,
In his
and I
claws.
think in his what?
In his claws.
In his claws.
In his claws.
Yeah.
And I think that Kawhi is the most effective when he's scoring points for us and
Sure.
also locking in on defense. And I
Yeah.
think we've seen that over the past week where he has scored about an average around 30 points this entire week. So I'm
Mhm.
saying that why not increase that output and see where we are next week by the end of next week? We could be blowing out every single team even more than we did this week. We blew out almost every single team. Am I wrong? The
Yes.
only close game we had this week was the first game against the Trailblazers. So
Mhm.
I'm just saying, would it be crazy to maybe take 2 more shots away from James Harden, 2 more shots away from Paul George, and give it to Kawhi to get to 40 points and let's see where we are? Um, I'm just saying it's a regular season.
As
I
long as
mean,
the
why
process
not
is,
test
or
it?
as long as the results are there,
Mhm.
process,
I think we're seeing the
process is
results, bro. I
process.
think we're seeing the results. Didn't we get blown out the first time we played the Knicks? I
We
forgot about the
lost. We lost. I don't know what the score was. I
I
can't
think we
remember.
got blown out. Producer Mike, if you could look that up really quick. I think we got blown out the last time we played the Knicks, and I think Kawhi had a bad game that game. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, man. There's why not fall on our superstars? I mean, Paul George has already admitted that he wants to be a number two.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put too much pressure on him because I don't want him to collapse.
I will say
But
late game. This is one thing that we can agree on, Roll. Late game, I would love the ball in nobody else but PG's hands if he's
of
healthy.
course, but
But
also, dude, I'm gonna be real. I've been liking what James Harden has been doing with the ball in his hands, bro. And Norman Powell at the end of games, man,
of
he's
course,
been balling too. But I mean, obviously, Paul George is the first option. I think Kawhi he's given too much of a reason not to trust him at
yeah.
the end of the games, and obviously things hopefully are going to be different in the playoffs. But
Mhm.
I think as of right now, it's got to be in Paul George's hands.
So yeah, Mike just pointed out it was 111-97 loss to the Knicks
Mhm.
last time we played him. Kawhi Leonard led the team in points with 18.
Wow,
So yeah,
Yeah.
wow, what a change of pace.
yeah,
Mhm.
big time. Yeah, there's not much to nitpick from this game. Um, I think I'm all for Kawhi continuing his dominance, particularly on the offensive end. He's been great from the defensive end this season. Um, but yeah, I think he's our superstar for a reason. But the thing that has me feeling hopeful is everybody's kind of figuring out their role, right? Like, I think that's been a big part of why Kawhi's been dominating. He has the room to be able to dominate and score now that Harden's our de facto point guard. Zoo is playing his role incredibly well. Terrence Mann as well. Paul George is our closer. Westbrook and Norm are sparks off the bench. Daniel Tice is there to give Zoo some rest if Zoo gets in foul trouble and we don't skip a beat. Yeah, everybody's buying into their role. I loved that we were able to get guys like Brandon Boston and
Mhm.
Xavier and Kobe Brown and even Josh Primo some playing time in this game, that always goes a long way. But
And can I say something also really quick?
yeah,
Um, I know everyone has been buying into their role, but I guess to go back on the Kawhi thing, I think he's just been playing with significantly more energy. I think his like the energy he's been playing with now and what we've seen to start the season is literally night and day.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I think just winning cures a lot of that. You
Yeah.
get an extra boost of energy, an extra boost of confidence. The more games that you win, the more that you can trust in your teammates. And it's permeating throughout the rest of the team. And Kawhi's obviously been playing at an elite level. So, yeah, this was a great win, a great way to make it 7 in a row. And I think if there's nothing else that needs to be said, I think I want to touch a little bit on some of the younger teams throughout the league, and then segue into our game. We're gonna make the previews a little bit short because we're running a little long on time right now. But one thing I wanted to touch on was one of two things that I wanted to touch on. I'm sure you guys want to say some stuff as well, but shouts out to SGA, man. Shouts out to the young goat, former Clipper legend.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the game winner against the Nuggets
Yes, sir.
last night. Big shot. Shea is a big shot maker.
Guys.
I will say he probably. I just want to get this off. He probably wouldn't be the player that he is today if he remained on the Clippers. He's
Oh
had
yeah.
full control of this OKC team. He's had a lot of room to grow. Obviously, they haven't really sniffed the playoffs much in his time with the Thunder, but I think that's been to his benefit. I think that he's had no pressure. He's been able to figure out who he is as a player, what he can do as a scorer. He's had a ton of room to grow, and it's obviously showing with shots like what we saw um, last night against the Nuggets, where the post spin, fadeaway jumper over Jamal Murray, I believe it was, to seal the deal against the reigning champs. Love what I've seen from SGA this season, particularly as a former Clipper draft pick, and I wish all the best for that kid.
Yeah.
Unless he's playing against the Clippers, then he can have a
Yeah.
rough night.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta say, man, this dude is so good.
It's
Uh,
incredible.
I saw I've seen, I forgot who it was. I saw another interview about this, but oh, this was Lou Will. Lou Will said this, and Kawhi said this. They both said that, or sorry, not Kawhi. Lou Will and Chris Paul said this in an interview. Chris Paul said this in an interview recently, but they were talking about how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is such a basketball head. Chris Paul talked so fondly of this dude, saying that when Chris Paul was on OKC, every day he would ask, like, if Chris Paul is like, you know what, let me go get some more extra shots up. Shai is out there with him. Shay's coming over to his house for dinner, talking about basketball, talking about things that like
I
what
did
he
see
can
that
get better,
interview.
talking about this, that, and the third.
Mm.
He almost got
But
emotional talking about
yeah,
SGA.
Wow.
yeah, and Lou Will said the same thing. Lou Will said that he knew Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to be good because of the way he approached the game, because of the way he was almost obsessed with it, and
Mm.
he literally lived, breathed, and played basketball, and that's kind of what you want from the star of your team. You want them to be almost like Kobe Bryant type obsessed
Yeah,
about the game.
Yeah.
totally.
And boy, is he a
And
star, dude. It's
dude,
crazy.
he is
That's
so
another guy
good,
that Connor
man.
has on his fantasy team.
Oh, I love it. Did I choose him over Giannis? Yeah.
It's working out.
It's
It's
working
working
out.
out.
I don't know
Whoa.
why I really did it, but I just knew I wanted SGA. I just knew he would have an incredible year this year. I just felt it, and he's proven everybody right. It's
Yeah,
so cool.
OKC. I think they sit at second. They might be second or third in the West.
Yeah.
They're having a great year. They have a ton of really, really good young pieces. I challenge them. If we're out here challenging NBA players in the hopes that they hear us, I challenge OKC to be a top 4 seed this season, and I think it's something they can
Yeah.
do. I think that's been my frustration with OKC over the last couple years, and I don't put that on the players. I put that on the organization, where they're getting a little too greedy in terms of, okay, let's play strong, and then second half of the season, let's see if we can tank for a lottery pick and just add young talent. But Sam Presti built the first Thunder pseudo dynasty or whatever you want to call it with KD and Russ and James Harden and Ibaka, Steven Adams, that squad. And so he can do it again. He showed
Mhm.
that he can do it, but he's just got to do it, because I think that they're at the point where if they don't start, gunning for a top seed in the playoffs, then you're just wasting your time. And I like what I've seen from them so far. I challenge them to really make some noise, and be a top four seed.
And I got one more quick thing I gotta say about this team is, dude, I feel like not many people have been talking about him, but Chet Holmgren has been seriously so good.
Yeah,
He,
Yeah,
I think this
he's a
the
baller.
same game the same last game that Shea hit the game winner. Chet Holmgren had 9 blocks, dude.
yeah, he's insane.
This dude
Ridiculous,
is
ridiculous.
literally a
He
twig
might look like
getting
Abraham
nine
Lincoln, but that
blocks.
dude can ball.
Bro, he's so good. And he hit the game. Who was that? Who did they play against where he hit the game winner? Or was it
Were
to
we at
put
the
it to
cabin when
overtime?
we were watching
We
that?
we were, yeah, we were. I forgot who it
Uh,
was. But
was it?
he's this is his first year, man, and he's I feel
I
like they're
can't
not
remember
talk
who that
I
was.
think it's
I
I
think the
think it
Sun.
might be because Wembanyama is in
Wemby's
is the
incredible
rookie
too,
at the
but they're
same time.
completely different
No, I'm
players.
not comparing them. I just think
Yeah,
that people aren't talking about Chet as much because of Wembanyama.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
totally,
I would
think
agree.
that
totally.
had Chet played last season, I think he'd be seen as like one of those like legit up and coming rookies that people are talking about because
Yeah,
he's really
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
That's all I got.
And Chet's game winner was against the Warriors.
Oh, against the
Wow.
Warriors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
confirmed by Mike. Yeah, I think I would love to see them. I would love to see them make some noise here. And another young team that I really really love is the Indiana Pacers. They are putting up a historically great offensive campaign. Pretty bad on the defensive end. That's some stuff that they have to work out. But Tyrese Halliburton, man, that I mean, I love Shea, obviously, Clipper legend, but I would say that Tyrese Halliburton is probably my favorite young player in the league right now. Just the way that he approaches the game, uh, as not necessarily as a scorer, but I think there was like he went like 9 straight games or 8 straight games without a turnover and averaging like 13
Well,
assists a game. Like the dude takes care of the ball and he lifts his teammates up. In a way that I think a lot of young guys don't. I mean, there's a reason why Buddy Hield. I mean, Buddy Hield's obviously a great shooter, but there's a reason why Buddy Hield has been shooting. I think he's leading the last couple of seasons. He's led the league in either 3-point percentage or 3 pointers made, because he's got a guy. All the guys on the Pacers have a guy that they can rely on in Tyrese Halliburton to make the right reads. That was the first thing that stood out to me. I'm a big Chris Paul stan. He's one of my favorite players of all time. And early on in Tyrese Halliburton's career, even his rookie season, I saw flashes of Chris Paul in the sense that the dude just, even if it doesn't lead to an assist, he's making the smart pass. We have so many great passers in this league: Luka, Trey Young, young playmakers.
Jokic.
Uh, well, I'm more so talking at the guard position, but yeah.
mhm.
Gotcha.
Um, but the one thing that separates me or separates Tyrese Halliburton, in my eyes, from the rest of those guys is just the intelligence behind these plays. Like even if he's just playing trigger man, getting the ball across the court and starting the offense, he just always seems to be setting guys up in the spots that he knows that they're successful. Uh, and he can get it going on offense too. He can score in bunches. He's a great shooter, even though he's got a weird, like almost Kevin Martin esque shot. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we're actually playing them tomorrow. They are, as far as I know, yeah. So they're number one in the league in points per game, number one in the league in assists per game, 29th in rebounds per game, and I think a bottom five in defense per game. So it just shows the disparity between their offense and their defense. But they are a dynamic offense, being facilitated by one of the best playmakers in the game right now. What do you think that we got to do to be successful and make it 8 straight against these guys?
Mm.
I've been saying I think I don't know where this team ranks on boards,
29th
but 29th. Ooh,
rebounds per game. Yeah.
so I well, I'm expecting to see a big game from Zoo on that front. I mean, Miles Turner.
Mhm.
He hasn't really been playing well recently. So I'm expecting, like I said, I'm expecting a big game from Zoo. I'm expecting us to be able to get. I mean, he's usually known for being a shot blocker, but I'm expecting us to be able to get to the rim. Um, kind of, I don't want to say having our way on that front, but one big thing is we're gonna have to lock in on defense. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned, Tyrese
100%.
Halliburton has been balling from the point guard position, and we kind of just have to lock in on defense. We have probably in my opinion, one of the best teams to defend guards
Oh,
because we have
absolutely.
a lot of players with long arms. James Harden has been locking in on defense recently. I'm not sure if many people
Oh,
have
he's
been
been
noticing,
incredible.
Yeah. He
but
had
he's been
four
getting a
blocks
lot
the
of
other night.
steals. Sorry, what'd you
Yeah.
He's
say?
always
He had 4 blocks the other night, James
Oh
Harden.
yeah,
he's
Yeah.
always been
yeah,
a great post defender. He's got quick hands and he's
hmm
immovable in the post. He's so strong. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The quick hands. He's been getting a lot of steals, been getting blocks, just been playing solid defense. So I think that we shouldn't have too much trouble with this type of team, and that I feel like we match up well against them. I mean, I think if we put someone like Kawhi on Tyrese or Paul George on Tyrese, I don't see why they can't kind of take him out of the game. Switch him back and forth, Kawhi, Paul George, them two kind of guarding Tyrese. I don't really see how I don't want to say I don't. I believe that they can take him out of the game because they're such elite defenders.
yeah,
Obviously, when a player like Tyrese Halliburton's caliber gets onto the court and starts getting going, it's hard to defend. But nevertheless, I believe in our team. I
I
believe in
think he's
our
actually a game time decision
defense.
for the game tomorrow.
Oh,
Tyrese
really?
Halliburton is with a
Wow.
Well, I
knee
mean,
soreness.
I think we
if
win if
we
he's out.
We
what?
should we should
Yeah,
I
win if
was gonna
he's out.
say I think we win the game if he's not playing for sure.
yeah.
That's
I think either way, this should be a win. I
yeah.
think with especially how well we've been playing recently. I think we match up well against them. I think we've been playing well recently. I think Kawhi has been balling recently. I'm expecting the same thing from him, 30 plus. I'm expecting a big game from Paul George at some point this week because he's kind of been lacking a little bit. He's kind of been on the lower end of points recently.
I think he's still
Um,
nursing that injury too. So
yeah, but he played well last game. So we'll see. Overall, it's just one of those games that I'm expecting a win from.
totally, I think if we run single coverage, if we're able to run single coverage against Halliburton, just keep everybody on their man off ball. Make sure that he doesn't get easy assists off to open shooters, and
Mhm.
we have the personnel to run single coverage against Tyrese Halliburton. Um, just try to switch when you can, or fight through the screens and make sure that he's not getting guys involved. I think that's a good way to win this one. And then obviously take advantage of the fact that they aren't a good defensive team and they aren't good on the glass. Zoo needs to step up as he has been. He needs to continue playing well, and I think that we escaped this one with a win. Um, that one's going to be an away game as well as the next two being we play the Dallas Mavericks on Wednesday, 2 days after the Indiana game tomorrow. I think as far as game plan for this one, it kind of needs to be more of the same. You know, we, despite what a lot of people think and what a lot of people say, obviously Luka has great individual performances against us, but we kind of have his number in terms of just win loss. Um, and so I think it's just got to be more of the same. I think we need to play this Dallas game the way that we would be playing the Indiana game in the sense that it's just try to see if you can run single coverages against
Mm-hmm.
Luka and make sure he doesn't get guys involved because Luka is such a talented scorer that
Yeah.
even if you double him, he's probably going to score if he wants to. So
Mhm.
if you just respect his shot a little bit and run single coverage, don't double because he's going to do what so many great passers do against us when we throw doubles at him is he's just going to get everybody else involved. Tim Hardaway, Grant Williams, all these guys can hit threes. Dante Exum had a monster game from behind the arc against the Lakers the other day. They have guys that can shoot the ball and that are shooting well. Let Luka cook a little bit if you need to. Just don't let anybody else get involved because,
Mhm.
um, you know, everybody has a cap on their stamina and their endurance. And I'm not going to say that Luka Doncic isn't an elite athletic specimen because he's an NBA player, but I don't necessarily think that he's like in the best shape of his career.
Mm.
So let him tire himself out on the offensive end and make sure that none of their other guys get hot. I think has to be a big point of emphasis. What do you guys think?
Oh,
Yeah, I agree.
right.
I saw the Dallas Lakers game the other day, and honestly, they look tough. I hate to say it. They look like they're
Sixth in points per game
yeah
is what they're at right now.
they do look tough. Like I said, we've kind of been on a roll recently. Was it 7 wins in a row? 12 out of our last 15, I believe.
So, yeah, that sounds about right.
Um, so I think we'll have a lot of momentum going forward. I think we will win the Pacers game. I think we will win the Dallas game. But I think it's
I
going to
think
be.
Terrence. So sorry. I
I
think
think
Terrence is going to have a really good game against, as he normally does
against
against
the
Luca.
Mavs.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that.
he
But
takes those games personally. Him and Luca have had beef ever since the
they have had
preseason of
beef
their
for a
rookie
long
seasons.
time. Yeah, they
Yeah,
have
Yeah.
had beef for a long time, and
Hmm.
you know, Luca is gonna be Luca.
of course.
I think we have to be careful with the minutes with Zoo and Luca on the floor together. I
True.
mean, we've seen this for the past like 5 years, dude.
Yeah,
Luca eats against that dude, eats
Yeah, he
against
does.
Zoo, and it's so frustrating to see that we do that every single year.
yeah.
We have them on the floor at the same time, and it's very frustrating to see. Hopefully, that doesn't happen this
He just
game, but
shouldn't. He just shouldn't ever switch out on Luca. He should be running drop,
but
and everybody
but
else
they
should be stepping up.
yeah, but Luca hunts him, dude. That's the issue. You don't think we
Yeah.
tried that? Luca hunts him, bro. It's unbelievable. Anyways,
Honestly,
Yeah, we saw it
let
last
Luca
year.
hunt him, dude. Zoo's been playing so well.
bro, stop,
Zoo's gonna get 4 blocks
stop,
on Luca and send his ass packing, dude.
Oh my
Period.
god.
stop. Zoo
Period.
hasn't done this the past 30 times he's played
Zoo's
against
different,
Luca,
dude.
but
Zoo just had a poster on
now it's
Jericho Sims, dude. He's feeling heavy in the nether
now
regions.
it's all yeah. Anyways, I think it'll be a good game against Dallas. I think we can get the dub, but I think it's going to be one of those game plans where we have to let Luca eat,
Yeah,
and hopefully it
Mhm.
won't be against Zoo, and we can squeak out a dub here.
Yeah.
totally. Connor, you
Yeah.
have anything for this one?
I mean, I agree with you guys. I think Indiana, facing them, I think we'd come out with a win. Dallas, it could be 50-50. We've had kind of that same 50-50 record with them this year so far. Our last time out against them, I mean, we beat them, I think it says 107-88. That was the last time. But I don't know. I think I don't want to be negative because, of course, I want to see our win streak continue. But I think against OKC or Boston, we're going to lose.
I think that's
One,
fair.
one of those games. One of
I
those
think that's
games.
fair. That's
Mhm.
a good segue into the last of the 3 away games before we go ahead and play Boston on Saturday at home.
Mhm.
It's going to be a Thursday game at 5 o'clock p.m. against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are cruising right now.
Yeah.
This one's going to be tough. This one's going to be tough because I don't think we've played this iteration of the Thunder yet this season with Chet. Jalen Williams is a absolute stud in his role. Lou Dort loves jumping into people on rebounds and getting physical and hurting people. And he's a dirty player. No, I'm just kidding. He's not dirty, but he plays really physical on
Is this the
defense.
first
He's a,
time? Is this the first time Paul George will play against OKC since he got injured?
yeah, I think so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think so. So expect Paul George to have a poster dunk on Lou Dort.
Yeah,
That's
we.
what I'm going to say.
That should be the expectation. I feel like Paul George should come out hungry, to kind of show that he means business and he's not happy about what happened the last outing against OKC. I think we lost that game too.
We did. We did. It started out so well, dude. PG
Yeah.
360 dunk.
Hmm.
We had a couple monster plays. We were looking great. And then PG goes down. That was late in the season, last season. And we ended up losing that one. But yeah, I think, let me pull up the team stats for OKC real quick. So yeah, they're obviously, I think, yeah, second in the West. They're fifth in points per game I think the first three, the Pacers, the Mavericks, and this game, it's a lot of the same profile in terms of like team success and what the team's about.
Mhm.
All three are top three teams in points per game, or not top three, top 10 teams in points per game. But you look 27th in rebounding, 24th in assists. They are 13th, I believe, in defense. But it's kind of the same thing. Dynamic offensive teams that aren't fantastic with their auxiliary stats, rebounds, defense. So we just need to. I think this stretch needs to be. We need to lock in on defense, and our defense hasn't been the issue this season. So I'm pretty confident about what we can do on that side of the ball. Just play honorable defense, keep a bad rebounding team off the glass, and just hit your easy shots, and try to see if you can attack Shea or attack Chet on get them in foul trouble or something like that. Something like that would go a long way because they are a potent offense. So if we can get one of those guys in foul trouble, that would go a long way, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after OKC on Saturday, which I think this is going to be the hardest game of the four, we play Boston on Saturday, and it
Mhm.
is a noontime game. It is at home, but it's going to be a 12:30 game. I'm going to be so ready for us to go to the Intuit Dome, so we don't have to keep playing these shitty noontime games. But until then, we will be doing that, and we will be doing that against a very, very good Boston Celtics team, number one in the East, 19-5 record. They are very balanced in pretty much every stat except for assists. Seventh in points per game, fifth in rebounds per game, third in defense. This is going to be a tough one, and I think they'll probably have everybody back. I think Kristaps missed a little bit of time, but he's back. Jason Tatum
Mm-hmm.
and Jaylen Brown are doing their usual thing. Um, they have Drew Holiday now, and Drew Holiday has kind of made a career of locking up guys that are bigger than him. PG has said that he's had a lot of trouble scoring on Drew Holiday at times. Um, what is the thing that you think we need to do um, the best this game to be able to squeak out a win?
Uh, I mean, this Boston team is really good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think we just got to lock in. Try to limit Jason Tatum as much as you can. Um, I think this is just one of those games where I hate to say it, but um, as of right now, with the heavy load of our week, I mean, last week we had 4 games. This week we have 4 games. The OKC game. I think is going to be a hard game.
Yeah,
And
Yep.
then this game being a 12:30 noon game, I think it'll be hard for us to get a win in this one.
I agree.
Um,
I
I
Mm-hmm.
think
agree.
it's just the obvious points. Try to run the boards, limit their stars, and you know our stars just got to play as best as they can. Our bench unit has to come out and really ball, and that's
Try
all we
and
can
sit
really ask
on
for.
Jaylen Brown's right hand, make him go left, and I think we win this game.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's figured out a way to, I guess,
To
mitigate
dribble
that. But
left.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, I think those are the types of things that come out during the playoffs. I'm sure he'll collapse and let the team down again this year in the playoffs,
yeah.
but we'll see.
We'll see. I think between the two, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you got to try and keep Jason Tatum out of it because
Hmm.
they seem to go as he goes. The thing that's got me worried a little bit is the addition of Porzingis, just because of the potent offense they have between Jaylen Brown and Tatum alone. Kristaps is going to get some wide open threes, I think, and he knocks those down at a pretty high clip. So yeah, this is going to be a hard one. Luckily, I've always said this, but the Boston Celtics seem to always be like Clippers East. They're constructed very similarly to the way that we're constructed, and so it seems like every time we play against these guys, it's always a pretty balanced effort. Kawhi and Jalen have like similar. Obviously there's a very big difference in terms of the player that they are overall, but they're very similar. Paul George and Jason Tatum play very similarly. Um, you know, uh, so I think that that we're gonna. I expect a good game. I do think that if we're gonna lose one, because I have to come back down to earth at some point, it's probably gonna be this game. But
Mhm.
if we lose a close game, close 12-30 game against the number one team in the East, I'll live with that. Particularly if we win the 3 games prior. So this is one I'm expecting to lose, but I don't know, man. I think that we could not easily, but I think that it's surely a option to be able to go through all of these and get 4 wins in a row. I'm really confident in the way that we're playing, and it's certainly possible. But again, the Clipper roller coaster is always a thing. We can lose
Right.
all 4. I don't think we will. I will be very upset if we do. But
Mm.
you know
Mm.
that's part of the reason why I said earlier on that I'm not super convinced that we're a contender yet, because we're just now seeing consistent play from these guys. But let's this would be a big test to separate us from the rest of the league in terms of legitimate contenders. A lot of people are already starting to murmur, "Oh, here come the Clippers, 7 in a row," after absolutely talking the most shit on us throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to recognize, but I think if we could get a positive record out of these 4 games, we can put the league on notice.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I
Is there
agree.
anything else you guys wanted to touch on for this last preview, or?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that this next week it's definitely a tough stretch. Competitive teams, really good teams that are playing well. And I know this would be talked about in the next episode, but I think the following week in the games that we have, just because we're looking at it, I think they are easier teams to face. So even if we have some trouble this week, I think we could even turn it around the following week and get our groove back if we
Totally.
were to do something.
Totally. I think it is important though to try and handle business in these games, just
Yeah,
to give ourselves that level of legitimacy, and
definitely.
I think we can do it. So here's to being able to go, let's say at the very least 2-2 in these
Yep.
next 4 games. I would love to go three and
Yeah.
one. I think it's
Yeah.
certainly possible to go 3-1, maybe even 4-0. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, and we'll have a lot to talk about on next week's show. We ran a little bit longer than usual, so we appreciate you guys so much for listening and hanging around. We got so much content that we want to share with you guys, so we really do appreciate everybody that tuned in to listen. Again, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Music. You can find us on YouTube, and then you can shout us out on Twitter. We're at at Clip Service Pod. Give us a shout out. Let us know what you think of the show. Give us a 5-star review. Subscribe anywhere you can. All of that stuff goes a long way. We're trying to figure this out as we go as well, and we got a lot of good stuff on the horizon for you guys. So we really appreciate it. We appreciate Connor sitting in on this one. He is definitely going to be a familiar face moving forward, as well as our buddy Shay, who's going to be joining us as a host. And you might see one of our a couple episodes with our co-producer Mike as well. We want to get a revolving door of hosts going here, because we all have a lot of good stuff to say, I think, and we've all known each other for a long time. So we want to have some fun with this. So again, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in.
Mhm.
Get at us if you'd like. Comment anywhere you can. Thank you guys so much, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And here's to seeing the Clippers continue their dominant stretch. We will get back to you guys on next episode. Until then, let's hope for some success, guys, and let's go Clips. You guys have anything else you want to say?
Nope. Thank you
No.
guys. Go
All
Yeah.
Clips.
right, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next time.